Your Steve Jones Show podcast will start shortly. The Steve Jones Show podcast is sponsored by Brewers Outlet, your beverage supermarket on Reagan Street in Sunbury. Sports talk where your voice counts. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. Now from the Sunbury Motors Studio, here's Steve Jones.
Today's show is brought to you by our good friends at Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street in Sunbury, the beverage supermarket. Imports, domestics, microbrews. Best selection of beer anywhere. Hot day, muggy day. You want to be getting beverages. Well, they also have wine coolers, water, soft drinks, snacks. They roast their peanuts fresh and hot every day. 6 great flavors of slushies. And the pickle bar, led by the barrels and the dills, indeed. Second to none. All at Brewers Outlet. Reagan Street in Sunbury, the beverage supermarket. And we are in the Sunbury Motors studio. Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors, Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf. And online at sunburymotors.com. Ford, Lincoln, Kia, Hyundai. Great new inventory. Fabulous pre-owned inventory. With a great sales staff. They'll make deals with you because it's great for you and it's great for them. It is all at Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf. Online, sunburymotors.com. Yankees and Red Sox will play tonight. Did not play, obviously, last night because of protocols. Aaron Judge and Gio Urshela happen to be two of the guys that are out. And that's the issue. But they will play tonight. Now, those guys won't play tonight, but they'll play tonight. And off and running for another great second half for the Bronx Bombers.
Get the lingerie on the deck. Call the janitor.
What?
Season in a nutshell.
I don't know. This is it's interesting. The Yankees have been this is the second time it's happened to them. They're minimum 85% vaccinated. The irony is the Red Sox aren't. There are only, I guess there are 7 teams that aren't. The Red Sox are one of the 7. And I know they're saying that that the Delta variant is the variant of the unvaccinated. I believe that's what they're saying.
Yeah, that's essentially what's been stirring up some case numbers, hospitalizations, deaths, etc. across the country. It's this Delta variant.
Yeah. So, now, which of the players, I mean, if you're 85%, they didn't say the Yankees are 100%. So you don't know, whatever. But they're all asymptomatic, and I've talked about the asymptomatic thing how many times, okay? I mean, simple as that. We've talked about that a lot.
And even the first time around, Steve, Gleyber Torres was a false positive. Aaron Boone said that yesterday.
Right. Exactly. There have been a lot of false positives. Penn State football had 58 false positives last season. How about that? 58 false positives last year for Penn State football.
And it's Tier 1, so it's players, it's coaches, it's everybody in that immediate setting. And they did mention, the Yankees did, not every player was vaccinated, as you mentioned, but it seems like all 6 of these players were.
Right. So, that is... that's the issue right there in a nutshell. But they're going to play tonight. And they're going to make up the game missed last night as part of a day-night doubleheader. Not a 7-inning doubleheader, a day-night doubleheader in August. So that's how they're going to do it. Suns and Bucks tomorrow night, Game 5. This is the best scenario that the NBA could have asked for in this particular situation. Because they needed this. The ratings are so low on it, they need this. And that's a big plus for them, that they are able to get to a Game 5. It'll mean more money. It has the potential now for more viewership. The series is not a rout, but it is a league that has big problems. I mean, big problems. I mean, they were going along at a great pace, but, I mean, look, the NBA, for the most part, not perfect, but for the most part, has had, starting with Magic and Bird, and remember, Magic and Bird are the single 2 most important figures in the history of the game. I didn't say they're the best players. I said they're the 2 single most important figures in the history of the game. The league is in a downward spiral at the end of the 70s. When I'll tell you, let me give you one that should tell you everything about Magic and Bird. And that's this. You know what Magic and Bird's first titles have in common? Magic in 80 and Bird in 81. You know what they have in common? They were both on tape delay when they won. Not live. Tape delay. 11:30 at night. When Magic filled in for Kareem in Game 6 in Philadelphia, that game aired at 11:30 at night. When Magic and the Celtics, and Cedric Maxwell happened to be the MVP of the series, when when they beat the Houston Rockets the next year, that was on tape delay. That was the NBA. And then, when Magic and Bird faced each other in 84 and all the games were live, the ratings shot through the roof. It laid the foundation for what we see today. Then the Pistons did their deal. Michael Jordan then started building the mansion. Kobe and Shaq kept it going. LeBron kept it going. Steph Curry kept it going. But I always warned of this scenario, that if you had 2 teams that did not have deep pedigree on the floor and in terms of name recognition as franchises, it would be the ultimate test for the NBA. All right. Well, the ultimate test is the second lowest rating ever. Game 5, this is important. This gives them the best shot of getting a rating. Gives them the best shot. As I mentioned yesterday, these are two good teams, not great teams. They're very good teams, not great teams. But the league does have, now the league is banning about maybe we're going to do a midseason tournament. Midseason tournament? To do what? To determine what? What are you going to determine with your midseason tournament? What does that mean? Fans want to see games with stakes. And my advice for the league is quite simple. Where you need to show up for work. And this doesn't apply to everybody. What, you think Lamar Stevens is doing load management? He's hungry. He's trying to get out there and play all the time. But you have some guys in this league that think they're stars, act like they're stars, want load management like stars, and guess what? They aren't. In reality, in the history of the league, as somebody who's watched a lot of basketball, they aren't stars. They're very good players, but they aren't stars. I need a few days off. To do what? You need to be out there earning your spot. But the bottom line is you cannot, with load management up, and Adam Silver, these were his numbers, up 100% from last year. 100%. Of players not injured sitting out. 100%. You have an obligation to your fans and to your TV partners. I don't care if it's a regional sports network or a national partner. The most embarrassing one was the Sixers-Nets game. Here's ESPN making it their national game of the week. And Durant's out, Harden's out, and I think Irving was out, right? All three of them were out, along with several other players. Look at it. ESPN is paying $1.4 billion a year. Not $1.4 million a year. They're paying $1.4 billion a year. And that's how deeply you care about your TV partner? That's how deeply you care about your $1.4 billion? You got a negotiation coming up for TV. You want more money from your TV partner. What about the fan? And I've talked about this many, many times over and over again, but I want to revisit it here. The fan that goes to one, maybe 2 or 3 games a year. I'd like to go see, I live in San Antonio. I'd like to go see them play the Nets. Okay. I don't know. I just don't know if Durant, Harden, and Irving are going to play. I don't know. Well, since I don't know, I don't think I'm going to go. If you, it's the equivalent. Okay, U2 goes on a 40-city tour. How many of them does Bono sit out? How many? 0. He knows that when he goes to that given city in a 40-city tour, that people are expecting to see him. Your obligation is to the people who pay the freight. The people who pay the freight are the fans. The people who pay the freight are the ones who pay their cable bill every month. Because guess what? ESPN's the most expensive cable channel on there. Oh, and by the way, you got to pay for TNT. Oh, and by the way, you got to pay for your regional sports network that carries your game. They're all helping to pay your salary. There are 365 days in a year. My calendar shows 82 dates. This year was 72. You have an obligation. If you want to be if you want to engage fans, we've got to engage our fans. Show up. The act is wearing thin. How many NHL players sit out for load management? How many NFL players sit out for load management? Okay, baseball's 162 games. But, if he's not hurt, how many times is Aaron Judge in the lineup? Judge is playing every day. I know Trout's hurt, but Trout plays every day. Only when those guys are hurt, and you're going to get banged up in 162 days, 62 games. It's going to happen. So every once in a while, a Bryce Harper sits out. Yeah, we're going to give Harper the day off tomorrow. You're playing 162 times in the heat. You have an obligation, because guess what? If you don't fulfill your obligation to the people who are paying for tickets and paying their cable bills, if you don't have an obligation to them, it's just and feel like you have an obligation to perform, then what's to keep them from saying, you know what? I'm a fan. I've decided to do my own load management tonight. I'm going to take my load management and go over to a local restaurant. And then I'm going to go home. You aren't the only option I have in my life. You have to give them a reason to show up. You have to give them a reason to watch. And the NBA right now is not giving them, on many nights, reasons to watch. Because you've got players that think that are bigger than the game itself. And you've got a lot of players who are not stars, who think they are, who think they're bigger than the game. I told you, I'm not going to get into who it was, but I can tell you one prominent college coach working with USA Basketball said he never would coach the NBA because he coached third tier guys at an international tournament, and they all acted entitled. They all wanted the red carpet treatment. Red carpet treatment? He said that's what the third tier guys are doing. He said, what are the second and first tier guys doing? That's not a good look. All right. Take a break. Brought to you by our good friends at Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street in Sunbury, the beverage supermarket. Joe Putnam's going to join us in the next half hour. The King is on with us today. And Matt will be complaining about something at some point.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, you get a lot of complaints. All right, back with more in a moment here on News Radio 1070 WKOK.
Party time, game time, or just fun time. Doesn't matter what time it is, because it's Brewers Outlet time. The beverage supermarket has the area's largest beer selection. Imports, microbrews, ciders, and domestics. Pick from over 100 ice-cold 12-packs and dozens of 24-ounce singles. Soda, snacks, hot sauces, fresh roasted peanuts. Make it one-stop party shopping, and don't forget the pickle bar. So whatever you're celebrating or just doing it up, Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street, Sunbury wants to see you. And thank you for your years of patronage.
Taking your calls at 800-795-9565. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. Now from the Sunbury Motors Studio, here's Steve Jones.
All right, Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf, online at sunburymotors.com. Ford, Lincoln, Kia, Hyundai. Great new inventory. Fabulous pre-owned inventory. All at Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf, and online at sunburymotors.com. And we are in today's show brought to you by Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street in Sunbury, the beverage supermarket. Imports, domestics, microbrews, best selection of beer anywhere. Maybe you want wine coolers. Water, need to stay hydrated. Soft drinks, snacks. They roast their peanuts fresh and hot every day. And the pickle bar, led by the Barrels and the Dills, indeed second to none. All at Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street in Sunbury, the beverage supermarket. Matt's actually going to make a trip here next week. He's never seen the Sunbury Motor Studio before.
I have it, and I look forward to it.
We'll even have a chair here for you. We have three microphones here.
Yeah.
We have 3 mics here. You can use one of them. And I get a little concerned about with dates, though. You were talking about, what are you going to be doing on the 23rd and the whole thing. And I had to remind you that you were going out to see her family. Then yesterday you asked me, well, what are you going to do on Football Media Day? He told me the date. I'm thinking to myself last night, what's the problem with the big deal with the date? It's a Saturday.
Well, I just want to know if maybe we wanted to do some, I don't know, social media stuff or whatever. I do know it's a Saturday, so we won't be doing the show or anything, but...
You can social media all you want. I don't care.
I might try to come out and do some things. We'll see. I don't know.
You can social media all you want. So the suit thinks of himself as a social media influencer.
Oh, my almighty!
You're telling me that's true?
To a point, yes.
To a point, yes. Okay, who's he influencing?
Some of the way we are promoting and marketing stuff for all of our stations.
Yeah, but that's the station. Hey, that's the station. It's not him.
Correct.
I'm concerned. All right. Colin Morikawa leads the Open Championship with another great, my apologies. Louis Oosthuizen leads the Open Championship with another brilliant performance. Every time you turn around, this guy's turning it around. 65 today. He's at 129. 2 shots better than Colin Morikawa. 3 better than Jordan Spieth. Oh, and by the way, look who's lurking. Dustin Johnson. He shot 65 today. He's at 7 under. And Koepka's at 5 under. And so is John Rahm. Rahm shot 64 today. Rahm moved up 62 spots. But Oosthuizen is setting the pace at 11 under par. 2 better than Morikawa, 3 better than Spieth, 4 better than Dustin Johnson, 6 better than Brooks Koepka and John Rahm. So there's the story on the Open. The Yankees and Red Sox will play tonight. They will play tonight. Matt has been very concerned about this. In fact, let's see who's pitching tonight.
It's Jordan Montgomery for the Yankees.
Jordan Montgomery against Eduardo Rodriguez,
who was supposed to pitch last night.
Who has struggled Rodriguez has struggled a bit. He had a good stretch to start, but he struggled a little bit.
Yeah, this is a winnable game for the Yankees tonight.
With Jordan Montgomery?
Only if they can hit, it's a winnable game. Because Montgomery, you never know who you're going to get.
Okay. Yankees are 46 and 43. Oh, you can find tickets on Vivid Street. Tickets as low as $24. Wow.
Well, that's not surprising. They're probably the nosebleeds, but...
What's going to happen when Garrett Cole pitches and his guy can't catch? I mean, between his own designated catcher and Spider Tack, that's kind of like, you feel like it's double kryptonite.
I think he'll be able to trust Gary Sanchez for one night. And that's coming from me.
Okay, if you say so. If you say so. So what do you think about, I think there's an obligation that has to be realized by today's athlete to the fan. The fan is the one that buys the merchandise. The fan is the one that buys the ticket. The fan is the one that creates the atmosphere. The fan is the one that watches the game either on a regional sports network or on a national broadcast. Fan's the one that does all that. And I think that what the NBA is forgetting is they're forgetting they have an obligation to those individuals. What do you think of that? See, that's where I think they're losing people. They're losing people like, okay, I'd like to go to the game, but
that is definitely a big chunk of it. But the second big chunk of it, and I don't want to turn this into a debate, but it's worth saying, is the league and its players, its high-profile players, have gotten too political. And that turns a lot of people off. It turns me off to some extent.
Well, I think that's certainly, that certainly is turning off a segment of the population. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But I think it all plays into in other words, you're sitting there and you want to go to a game, and maybe you go to 3-4 games a year. Well, I want to go see the Nets tonight. And so you sit there and like, oh, they're not going to play tonight. And then when you take your national TV partner who pays you $1.4 billion a year and you backhand them, we're more important than what you do. You're more important. And then, now, again, I don't blame LeBron at all for him saying the turnaround was too quick. Because guess what? For the Lakers and the Heat and the Celtics and the Blazers, because those are the last four in the playoffs, so they had to go the extra 2 weeks in the playoffs in one final and the extra 2 weeks in another. So they had to play the extra games. The other 26 teams don't have that complaint, including the Clippers. They don't. They don't have that complaint. And I think, the reason you heard so many injuries is because of the short turnaround. Well, the turnaround was short. The turnaround was short for the Lakers. No question. LeBron is correct about that. Not only that, the Lakers played 25 games. The Nets played a dozen. The Clippers played a dozen. After 4.5 months out, you played a dozen games. I don't want to hear about your quick turnaround. You played a dozen games. You didn't take 4.5 months off, play 50 games, and then come back and have to play again in 2 months. No. Now, for the Lakers and for the Heat, and to some extent, the Celtics and the Blazers, who were in the Final Four, yes. I can completely understand where they're coming from. They played extra games. They had a quick turnaround. The other 26 teams didn't. And you can't keep laying that out there every time you turn around. Right now, the NBA, they're not at a crossroads. They aren't. But boy, they are right now on a streak that heads them to the crossroads. They're going to expect more money in their next TV contract, Matt. They're going to expect more money. Well, if you're a TV network, well, I think they'll get money because, look, the advantage the NBA has is this. Let's not be shy. There is a level of popularity with the league. Okay? There's no doubt. There's a level of popularity with the league. But it's not off the charts popular like they think they are.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned that because I have no doubt ESPN will throw everything they have at the NBA to keep them so the NBA can take advantage of that because now, ever since the whole Maria Taylor thing happened with ESPN, all they've been trying to pride themselves on is, well, this is the first time since 2005, I think, that we've had contracts with all four major sports. But I am curious about TNT. Because TNT is clearly heading in a new direction to being one of the new faces of the NHL. They're doing terrific with Major League Baseball and with March Madness when they had the first couple rounds. So I'm curious about the NBA and their relationship with TNT going forward.
I think that'll be there. TNT needs them. Jeff Zucker is a huge sports fan, which is Kenny Albert explained. They'll have to divide their time with the NHL. But you notice that TNT, TBS, re-upped their deal with Major League Baseball. They the NBA pregame show, halftime, postgame, is off the charts compared to what is presented on ESPN. ESPN's never been able to get that thing going. Never. I don't know. I can't explain why.
I can. The analysts stink. The analysts are annoying, and the analysts are brain dead half the time. The guys that they've had on there, Paul Pierce, Kendrick Perkins, Richard Jefferson, those guys are nauseating. Jay Williams is half decent. Jalen Rose is annoying, too, in my opinion. It's not the host and it's not Woj, just the analysts when it comes to ESPN's. Now, I think TNT's is just as annoying, too, but at least they have a stupendous host and one of the best in the biz in Ernie Johnson, and Charles Barkley is a hit and miss for me. But
Charles Barkley, to me, is a riot.
I don't care for Shaq or for Greg Anthony.
It's Kenny Smith.
Kenny Smith, I'm sorry, yeah. I don't care for the two of them.
Kenny Smith is fine. I mean, I don't, no offense. I'm looking for the substance that Shaq adds. Kenny Smith adds a lot of substance. He also plays off Barkley really well. And Barkley, for all the stuff where he's funny, adds a lot of substance.
Yes, absolutely.
But I just can't. Sports networks need sports programming. To be honest with you, the regular season is a throwaway for the regular season is a throwaway for ESPN. It fills up 2 nights of programming plus Sunday on ABC. That's great. But it gives them, they buy themselves 3 days worth of programming a week. Then, of course, the playoffs, which is where essentially they make their money. You're a sports network. With all due respect, it's great having the NHL, but you need something that's a signature for you in between the NFL seasons. You know what I mean? By the way, there won't be any drama when it comes to Maria Taylor. They're going to reach a mini agreement for her to stay through the NBA Finals. Then after that, she's expected to sign with NBC. So there you go.
And go to the Olympics.
Or
be part of the Olympic coverage, unofficially.
She's going to the Olympics.
That's what I've been seeing from our friend Andrew Marchand from the Post.
Oh.
NBC's going to put her on the Olympics right away.
That's great. Let's see. NBA ratings. Game 4, 10.25 million viewers. So they're gaining in viewership. That's up big from the finals last year, 7.54 million. But when you compare it to 2019, Game 4, compared to Game 4, Raptors-Warriors, down 21%. So 1 in 5 viewers that were watching 2 years ago, not watching now. And remember that you have to always preface this. That includes a non-rated market in the finals. And if you don't think that makes a difference, you're talking about, the rated market in the finals is going to deliver you a 25 to 35 rating in that market. That's not just a few viewers. And that was a non-rated market. And they're still down 21% because they got 2 rated markets in there this time. And now they're talking about doing this midseason thing? Like, what the? Why are you doing this midseason thing? I can't believe they're talking about it. When you start doing gimmicks, you are in trouble. That means you are desperately trying to find something that reeks of desperation. But the TV numbers are getting better. And I think the Game 5 will have a good rating on Saturday night. All right, back with more in a moment. Great to have you with us today. As we continue here on News Radio 1070 WKOK, your home for Matt Catrillo. When it comes to car buying, there's the other guy's way, and then there's the SMC way. The other guys force you into a vehicle you really don't want. The Sunbury Motors way lets you take the time you need to browse, ask questions, and take the test drive and think on it. For over 100 years, the Mertz family and all their employees have made your experience the most pleasant one you'll ever have. The other guys won't offer you the best price for your trade, no matter how much they say they will. The SMC way is their promise to provide you with the most money the market shows your vehicle is worth. The SMC way is to offer you all applicable factory rebates on new vehicles and generous discounts. Looking for a pre-owned vehicle? The SMC way checks each vehicle in a 200-mile radius to determine the lowest price, then beat it. It's the lowest price promise, just part of the SMC way. The choice is up to you, the other guy's way or the SMC way. The SMC way wins every time. Sunbury Motors Company in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, Sunbury, and at sunburymotors.com. Selling more cars and satisfying more customers for over 100 years. You should see the suit on air guitar with this. Unreal.
Oh, yeah.
Hopping on his left foot, right leg in the air guitar. It's just great. Then all of a sudden we hear a stumble, a crash, and then several of us that go in and have to help him up. It's just, that's sad.
Get the lingerie on the deck. Call the janitor.
Does this at the holiday party, and then Roger looks over and says, "Why are people leaving?" I said, "Roger, he's doing the air guitar thing." It's like, oh my goodness! All right, what do you say? So I'm going to have to ask Roger what his preferred nickname is for his football team. You're going to have a new one next year. I think if they went with the Red Tails, I think that would be cool, don't you think?
Seems okay to me.
Well, it would be as a tribute to the Tuskegee Airmen.
Yeah,
right?
I think that would be the good way to go.
I know Red Hawks, for example, Arkansas State has that copyrighted. The ladies I'm going to ask him, what does he prefer? Now, I know he'd prefer to have 13 wins and be 13-4. Okay, that I understand. Today's show presented by Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street in Sunbury, the beverage supermarket. Here on News Radio 1070 WKOK.